Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jen Malo, as well as all my social media platforms. If you enjoy my content and you like what I share and what I talk about, please make sure that you join us by clicking that red subscribe button on the bottom, and also don't forget to smash that like button because it does help with the YouTube algorithm and I will also appreciate it. So with that being said, today we're going to be reviewing my 2023 goals. I have my journal which I've been using for the entire year here. So this is where I had wrote down all of my goals, and you will also see that with the Evercent financial journal, this is the same approach that I used as well. Because one thing that I've learned over time when it comes to setting goals, because before there was a time whereby I did not enjoy setting goals. I think the part where it shifted for me is when I actually started learning how to properly set goals. That just setting one big overarching goal is not going to help me in any way, and every time that I'm not achieving that, I'm going to feel like a failure. And so what I've learned to do is, from that overarching goal or from that big goal, learn to break it down. And then even on those ones that you have broken them down, break them down further in terms of your strategies or your plan of action. So for me, the way that I wrote it here on my journal was strategies. So with each and every goal, I'll say strategy one, for me to be able to reach this big goal, what do I have to do? So I'll break it down into strategies. And the way that this helped me is when it comes to setting monthly goals as well as tracking, because I knew exactly what I had to do in order for me to achieve that particular goal. I needed to make sure that I execute on the strategy that I had set for myself. Another thing that I've really appreciated about the way that I've been approaching goal setting and the way that I've been just approaching my finances is is pacing myself when it comes to what I want to see happening in my finances. The biggest mistake that many people make is when they start working on their finances, they want to do everything at the same time. They want to be busy with this, be busy with that. A person may be trying to pay off debt, but they're also still at the same time trying to invest. They're trying to do this, they're trying to do this. And what I've found for me, and what this has also given me a peace of mind, in a sense that I do not get bothered when I see people talking about big investments, talking about, oh, I was able to invest this much this year, because I understand what I planned to do and why I wanted to do that. And so I love that I've been able to pace myself. And this year, in 2023, my biggest thing that I really wanted to see improving when it comes to my finances is the way that I manage my finances. Yes, I know how to budget. I've always known how to budget because I started budgeting from when I was still in high school, getting paid 800 per month. But I've known how to budget. However, there were just those small things that were like not sitting well when it comes to my finances, like not understanding my spending, being impulsive as well with my spending. Also, setting a budget and not being able to stick to it. Those are things that were really concerning to me. And so I needed to find systems that would help me with that. With that being said, let us just get into reflecting on my 2023 financial goals. Under my financial goals, I had set 3 goals. And if you've watched my video on goal setting, these are what my checkpoints. So I had set my checkpoints, 3 checkpoints when it comes to my goals, and then under each and every checkpoint, I set strategies of how I'm going to achieve that checkpoint, or basically, how will I see that I've reached this checkpoint. And so I'm going to share with you the 3 checkpoints, and then I'm going to break it down on each and every one of them to say, this is what I had planned, and this is how far I went with that. How did it go for me? How do I feel about part of those things? So the first checkpoint or the first goal is to save 80,000 in 2023. Now this for me was an audacious goal because I've not, in the previous years, I've never saved this much. But I set it out there and I said, you know what, I want to save 80,000. And I put it just out there in the universe that this is something that I want to work on. The second checkpoint that I set was to start investing monthly. And then the third checkpoint was to manage my monthly spending. Now, let me take you guys through each and every one in terms of the strategies under each checkpoint or under each goal. So under save, when it comes to the first one, which is save over 80,000 in 2023, the first strategy that I had put in place is to say I want to continue saving towards my emergency fund of 1,210. I had been saving towards my emergency fund, but I had not maxed it out. Like, I had not reached my goal of 30,000, of which I did reach it this year. And it felt really good to have reached that target. However, this was not about me reaching my 30,000 goal on my emergency fund. It was more so saying that if I continue saving my emergency fund of 1,210, if we times that by 12 months, it should give me a substantial amount that will allow me to work towards the 80,000. So that is how I looked at it. And so when it comes to my emergency fund this year, I was able to save 23,310. How I got to the 23,000 is because I had been saving that 1,210, and then when I got my bonus in May, I took 10,000 of that and I put it into my emergency fund, which made it to be 23,310. This is something that I just checked this morning, because I was like, I remember that in May I did not deposit the normal 1,210, and so I went back on my Frank app and actually checked my deposits, and then I was able to see that, oh yeah, in May you actually deposited 10,000. So that is the first part. So that is strategy one. I would say that is a tick. And then when it comes to my the education fund, this is money that I am investing. This is money that I'm investing for my daughter, for her future education. And each and every month I put 1,000 towards this fund. And so for here, I wanted to make sure that the strategy was to continue with the education fund of 1,000 per month. Now, if you times that by 12, it should give you 12,000, right? And so I did not miss a month. I've been able to deposit that 1,000 each and every month, and so that gave me around 12,000. And then now, when it comes to the other goal, was to save for 2024 school fees, which is 1,000 per month. Now, this is money that I save on the stokvel. I've spoken about this in many of my videos, even on the previous videos. In the previous video of the cash stuffing, I shared with you guys that I have a stokvel that pays out in January, and this stokvel allows us to cover the school fees of our daughter and just cover everything related her school needs. And so my goal here was to make sure that each and every month I save 1,000. Now, there was one month where I think I saved 500, but even still then, for all of that, I would say that it was 10,500 that I was able to save under the stokvel. When it comes to the other one, another strategy that I have was to save for the building fund for home, and this was supposed to be 3,500 per month. Now, when I started beginning of the year, I was very intentional with this, and I was very clear that, okay, this is what I wanted to save towards. And then over time, I realized that this is just something that I do not feel aligned to. And so I stopped saving for saying it's a building fund. And I just said, okay, I'm saving. And then I decided that I wanted to buy a car, of which is something that I did not share, but I was just like, okay, this is going to be your biggest purchase for me. Of which now that I'm sitting here with you, I just feel like, as much as I would love to have my own car, but then at the same time, my partner gives me his car that I don't have to pay for. He pays for it. He pays for it each and every month. The only thing I have to do is to pay for the insurance and put petrol in it. And so what is the rush of me wanting to buy a car? There really isn't. And that is why I even came to the point whereby in December, I can just hire a car, because it's difficult for us to be driving two cars going down to KZN. So it's just like, in December, I can just hire a car. And that is just, when you're hiring a car in December, it's like installments of, it's like an installment of it's like a 1 month installment of a car if you had owned it. So anyway, I'm telling you a lot of things. Anyway, the reason why I'm telling you all of this is just to show you that I started beginning of the year with this other strategy, which is this mini goal that I want to do this, I want to save towards this. And then as time went on, things changed, and then changed again, And so I allowed it to do that. Because another thing, when you're setting goals, it doesn't mean that you are now confined in that goal, that you can't do anything, that you have to do this, and if you don't do this, that means that you are failing. Things will change, priorities will change, they will shift. Allow yourself that if that happens, there's nothing wrong with that. And that is what I did. I gave myself that freedom to say, I can change my mind. There is nothing wrong with changing your mind on anything, especially when it comes to goals, especially when you see that it is just not aligning with you anymore. Allow yourself to change, And so for that, I did not stop saving. If you realize, when you go back to my monthly savings, to my monthly research, you'll realize that I did not stop saving for this. It's just that it was very hard, because my goal of what I was saving towards kept changing. And so the determination to save towards that changed as well. But this is also money that I can say I was able to tap into for hiring the car this December, because I just knew that, okay, this money now is just for me to save, And going in 2024, I really just want to be clear about my priorities, things that I want to make sure that I'm setting goals that are aligned with me, that are aligned with the big goal, which is financial freedom. So when it comes to the building fund, how much money was I able to save in total? So here, let me just explain. When it comes to the building fund, I kept tapping into this money. I would go back into it. When there's someone who needs money at home, I'll tap into that. When I need money from there as well, I will tap into that. So I remember also with my journal, I did tap into this money as well to buy some other things, some other supplies that I needed for my business. And so it is that fund that I allowed myself to tap into, be it that I need money. So here in total, I would say that I was able to save 24,300 this year. But obviously this does not account the other funds that I withdrew. Strategy number 5, I wanted to save for 1 month ahead of a target of 13,000. Now, I reviewed this 1 month ahead thing, and I realized that 13,000 is really not the money that I need if I say I want to be 1 month ahead. And so I decided to go the route of being 1 month ahead on my water and electricity rates and levies, as well as my municipality rates, because those are things that I normally have to pay for before I get paid. Before my salary comes to me on the 15th, I should have paid for those things beginning of the month. And so now what has happened is I am 1 month ahead when it comes to those things, such that I do not need to wait to get paid in order for me to pay for those things, because there's always money waiting for those things. Even right now, I just paid, even right now, it is December, I paid beginning of December for all of these things, but I already have savings for when I get the bill in January, before I get paid. So by the time I get my salary on the 15th, what I do is I take the 2,800, I shift it into my savings, waiting for me to get the bills, and then I pay again. So that is how I am 1 month ahead. Now, I don't foresee myself wanting to have more than that. I don't think that is important, because I realize that the only thing that I really need to be ahead of, it is my water and electricity. I have my emergency fund. I have my other savings. I really don't need to be having a lot of buckets of savings, especially if they are not making sense. So on that one, I would say I just put in the 2,800, because every month that is the money that I'm rolling over. That is just 2,800. And then we go to strategy number 2, which is to invest monthly. Now, I had this goal of wanting to start to invest on easy equities, because it's one of the platforms that I had not been utilizing for a while, because I wanted to focus on paying off debt and then building my emergency fund and so on. And this year I felt like, okay, maybe it's time for me to start saving towards this. And then I started, I think I did it for 3 months, and I was doing 500 per month. So here my strategy was to invest 500 every month on easy equities. And then another strategy was to research on assets in easy equities that I want to invest on. And I started January, February, March, and then I stopped. The actions that were needed for me to be able to stick to this were not essential, were not things that excited me. that going and choosing stocks is not something that excites me. I know that for some people it is exciting, but for me it is not exciting to have to go in and choose assets. It's just not exciting, because when I'm going in there and I have to choose assets, there are many questions that run in my mind, like, is this the right asset? Am I making the right decision here? And so I just decided to stop. I stopped. However, what I then decided to do this month, was it this month or November? Like around that time, November, December there. What I then decided to do was to take a majority of my savings in all of these other platforms, which is Frank, as well as my Time Bank savings. Take that and then channel it towards my Easy Equities account so that I can max out my tax-free, of which I did. Right now, my tax-free account is maxed out, 36,000. It is done. And then from my earnings, from the returns that I made on my business, what I then decided to do was to take some of that money and invest it as well on Easy Equities. So right now on Easy Equities, I'm not counting. I don't want to take that sum of money that I have on Easy Equities and put it here. I'm only going to look at the other money, of which I'm going to explain. So right now on Easy Equities, without getting into detail of how much money is in there, because now what I'm learning is some things I just have to keep for myself, and just walk in silence. So but all I can say is I did max out my tax-free account. And that is what I've decided to do, that each and every year I'm going to max out my tax-free. And what I'll do is I'm not going to be investing bit by bit because of just how annoying it is for me to go and sit and have to choose assets. And I don't want to be choosing assets for 500 Rand. I just feel like it's not worth my time. It is not worth my time. I would rather take that 500 Rand, save it somewhere, let it accumulate to at least 10,000. Once it's 10,000, take it, put it on Easy Equities, decide how I want to invest it. But to sit each and every month and have to decide 500 Rand, it's not something that is worth my time. So that is my plan. However, now let's get back to how much money I have in there, excluding the money that I took from Frank, because that is money that is already calculated on the emergency fund. So on Easy Equities, so it was 1,500, which was from January to March, plus 15,000. This 15,000 is money that I took from. It's money that I took from my business side. So I took that money and then I added it on Frank, which then gave, on Easy Equities, which then gave me 16,500 that I will say it's money that is not already calculated on the above things. Ne? So in total, this has given me 86,610. Now then, let's go back to the initial goal. The initial goal was to save over 80,000 in 2023. Now, did we achieve this? Did I achieve this goal? Yes or no? Yes, I achieved it. So we have already looked at save over 80,000 for 2023. We've also looked at starting to invest on Easy Equities, of which right now, as I said, my tax-free is fully funded for 2023. So now we're going to be looking in 2024 on how do I fully fund this tax-free account, as well as I also invested on the other side as well, which is the one that is taxed. However, remember, you are taxed on the returns, not on the investment itself. The last part on my financial goals is to manage my monthly spending. This was one of the things that were concerning me when it comes to my finances. And I started in January implementing cash stuffing, and I haven't looked back ever since. Every month I cash stuff without any fail. Sometimes I document it here, sometimes I don't document it, but every month without fail, I've been cash stuffing, and it has been a game changer when it comes to my finances. So I started cash budgeting in January, and what it has allowed me to do is just be mindful with my spending, because the biggest challenge that I've had, and I still even have it now because I realized it even this month, is when I have money in my account that is not clearly marked that it's for this, like I have money in my transactional account, it is very easy for me to end up spending that money willy-nilly and not being intentional about it, because it's just all there. And so what I like about the cash stuffing is that money is in each and every category, which allows me that when it is time to spend, I'm spending spending directly in that part. I'm spending directly in that category. And so this has really allowed me to control my spending, to be more mindful. I know that with some people, they'll say, oh, but you can use 5 accounts. Those 5 accounts, I have to pay for fees for all of those 5 accounts. If I then decide to use one account, because you can do that on Capitec. On Capitec, you can have all 5 accounts. But then that means that each and every time I want to spend, I need to now start moving. I need to go and move money out of that account and put it here. And then I'm done, I move it back. That on its own, all of those transactions that you are doing, it is counting, guys. You may not see it, but they are counting. For the fact that you are using their platform, you are busy moving monies from here to here, here to here, it is counting. And so I did not want that. And so for me, what I like about cash is that it just helps me to be more intentional with my spending, to make sure that the money that I've put in that category, I spend for that category. But if I were to use a card, I can tell you now, I would not do that. And so I really love cash stuffing for that. For me, it's really been transformational for my finances. And I think that is why even now I have so much peace when it comes to my finances, because I'm so mindful. I'm so clear about what I spend on. Even when I do get those impulses, spending on those impulses is not easy because I just don't have money lying around in my transactional account, waiting for me to end up misusing it. I love that for me. And so, as I said, if you're really struggling with sticking to your budget, really look into cash stuffing. So those are my financial goals that I set in 2023. I must say that I feel good now that I've reflected on it, because I realized when I reflected on this that I actually did achieve the things that I had set for myself. The things that I went in with the intention of doing, I did do. Yes, during the year there were many challenges that came by that made me feel like I am not going to be able to achieve this, but I ended up achieving them. But some of these things as well have been transformational when it comes to the way that I handle my finances. So with that being said, you guys, I'm going to close off this video now because even my camera is overheating again. So I'm going to close off this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you smash that like button and also join us by subscribing. And I will see you guys in January. This is the last video for 2023. Please take care and stay safe. Bye.